This is Two Guys, One Movie, Nine Gates.
In 3D.
This is Steve Arviso.
Charles Musick.
And today we are bringing you a movie about books. That's right, we've reached the bottom of the barrel only several days into this, and we are now talking about...
A book.
A book. An old book.
Well...
There's a few pictures in it.
I think it's 3 books that are adapted from one book. See if you want to get technical.
At this point, I really don't.
Well, we're talking about The Ninth Gate.
Featuring Johnny Depp himself.
Yeah.
And brought to us by Roman Polanski.
Which I didn't realize it was a Roman Polanski movie.
You know, I actually love this movie a lot, and I never realized it until we looked it up.
Yeah. I mean,
Research, boys and girls.
Yes. You know, we were talking about movies that, have followings because of actors and stuff. This is one that when I mentioned it to certain people, I know a lot of them didn't really know what I was talking about.
It was a bit of an obscure film. I mean, we're looking it up right now, and it was kind of a critical and box office failure when it came out. But it's actually a pretty good movie, and I think one of the reasons that most people didn't like it is the fact that it is about Johnny Depp going around the world looking for books. It's a really weird setup for a horror film, and there's not a lot of scares. It's kind of a thriller, but...
it's just like, how do you make a thriller about a guy looking for books? Well, he's looking for a book.
You put Frank Langella in it, that's how.
He's looking for a book that's extremely rare and supposedly adapted that's from a book that's written by the devil himself.
And it's supposed to give the user the ability to summon the devil and whatever comes with that.
Or to be able to access the Ninth Gate to go to hell.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand why you really want to do that, but I guess, to each his own. More power to you, Frank Langella.
Johnny Depp was looking for a career boost at this point in time. It was kind of a low point for Johnny Depp at this point, which he seems to be in a bit of a lull at this point as well. Maybe he's got like a 10-year cycle going on. But it's a bit of an obscure movie. I loved it since I first saw it on DVD years ago. And I know you like it too. It's a bit different.
It's classified as a thriller. It never really made me scared, but when I was watching it, you could feel that, it was kind of an uneasy feeling.
Roman Polanski really has that ability with his films. I mean, you've never admitted to actually watching Rosemary's Baby, but it's similar. Like Rosemary's Baby doesn't really hold up much,
which is what people compare this to.
Yeah, which is a bit unfair because that much is a lot more of a horror film. It involves cults and the spawn of Satan and all that. But the film was a lot more of a horror. That film was a lot more of a horror film than this one. And even then, Rosemary's Baby doesn't really hold up today. I think The Ninth Gate holds up better as a thriller, as a film itself, and a film about the devil, better than Rosemary's Baby did. It's one of those weird films that people just kind of
Also, what I liked is that it has, you feel like it has supernatural elements, and that there's really...
But there's nothing there.
Really isn't many supernatural elements to it.
Not until later towards the end of
exactly.
It, yeah.
But, there's this girl, and you're kind of hinting, like, is she...
a bit weird, or
someone, or is she a devil, or a demon, or an angel, or what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
But you just know that there's something off about her, and that's what I like about the film, is that Johnny Depp is going through and doing this, and he's looking for these books, as you're saying, but also he's encountering all these different obstacles and, like, weird people. I mean, when you're looking for rare stuff, obviously there's going to be other people wanting it, but this just seemed to be way more trouble than it's worth, but he's still pursuing it, knowing that the person wants to use it to go to hell.
For like the first half of the film, that's pretty much the case. Johnny Depp is an asshole in this film, which I think is what really makes it for me. You really see him play these smarmy guys or these kind of suave guys that are just not very likable.
His character's not out there, though. I mean, he's like a normal, down-to-earth, like someone you would imagine who collects books.
Yeah, and he's a dick. He's a selfish prick in this film, and it really works. He comes off a bit more charismatic in this film than he does in a lot of other ones, especially in his more serious roles. And I think that's what really drives the film at the beginning, is that he's a prick, but he has that change of heart halfway through, where he stops trying to find the books for the sake of finding them, and it's more to prevent everyone else from getting these books. And it's a bit of a MacGuffin movie. I mean, he's on the search for these things.
He's getting books and he's trading them and selling them so it's kind of his job, but obviously he had to be a fan of books himself.
He's also a scam artist, too, because he tries to sucker people into paying less for the book, or selling them for less.
Selling them for less, yeah. But, I mean, you figure he has to be a big fan of books as well in order to, get into this profession and stuff, so...
Very true.
The fact that he's looking for the guy, you always are questioning whether or not how far into it does he change motives where it's like, I kind of want these for myself, or I want to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, of course, I'm going to mention a little spoiler, so if you don't want to hear it, fast forward a minute. He willingly lets the guy, do it, or, he may not have known, I think he kind of assumed that he gave him the wrong engraving for the last one. So when he performed the ritual, of course, he got screwed over.
Yeah. And, I think the statistic of this film as being, it's a thriller for the most part, but that ending is very much a horror-style ending. Not just that scene in particular, but the whole ending of the film. It's very much a dark ending. It's almost Lovecraftian in a way, a bit.
And they have the ritual he interrupts and stuff, but I mean, I think it's more also with the ending of him just walking into, knowing that he did it into the light. It leaves you just, as I said, with that uneasy feeling, like, damn, what next for him? And your mind is running rampant with what could happen.
That's when it just ends too. That's a solid ending to a film, especially for Roman Polanski. Does pretty good endings. It
is a little cheesy that, oh yeah, that was the fake, transcript. So he goes back to the store and it's completely cleared out, and randomly the last piece of furniture these two guys are moving, this paper, as you said, the paper fell off so magically and perfectly.
They trained that paper well.
Yes. It got mini treats.
It took 13 weeks to train that thing.
Jeez.
No, but you got it's a bit of a hokey, but it's a horror ending, and it really works. Especially this whole thing, because you get to see, like you said earlier, Johnny Depp's character is he didn't really have a full change of heart. He's selfish, and he stays selfish throughout the whole film. He's a bit heroic in the fact that he stops Frank Langella's character, but this, it plays out in a very different way. It doesn't have that happy ending. It's a very dark ending.
Well, see, and that's another thing what I liked about it is it's one of those obscure thriller films. It's delving in topics that people are already uneasy about when you're dealing with religion or demons and stuff like that. But it doesn't go to the supernatural point where there's demons flying around and stuff like that.
It's very
subtle. Keeps you on almost a serious level of the people that are obsessed with this. Mm-hmm. So you're getting a glimpse into that. You're already, being creeped out by certain people and the feeling of what's happening. Exactly. Yes.
It's a very terrifying man.
But it doesn't follow the norm of anything as well, of a normal horror film or thriller film. I mean, and having that type of ending, it really, it brings it all together, I think, perfectly.
Oh, yeah. Again, it's Roman Polanski. Say what you will about him on a personal level, but as far as a creative talent is concerned, he does great work. Again, Rosemary's Baby doesn't really hold up as a horror film, but it's still a very solid story. It's not a scary film. Not at all. Even for its time, it was never really much of a terrifying film, but it's very eerie. It's unsettling, the idea and the whole story. But, that comes into play here with The Ninth Gate, and it's just unsettling the whole time. But it's very grounded. It's a very grounded sense of uneasiness that you get. Like you said, there's not demons flying everywhere. It makes people uncomfortable with the subject matter.
It's like the girl that he runs into and is kind of helping him or being alongside him. You don't really know what her motive is.
Yeah, she's a mystery throughout the whole film. And
even to the end, I mean, you still are questioning you see her in that picture, of course, of the engraving, and you assume that's what she looks like, but...
And, the film's got solid performances. The directing, again, it's Roman Polanski, so you're going to get some great visuals. And as we were saying earlier, you get this... It has a persistent sense of uneasiness throughout it. You always have this sense that there's a little bit of supernatural stuff going on somewhere, somehow, despite the fact that none of that's actually happening on camera. But the camera work, the direction, the cinematography really makes you feel that way, along with the audio work that they put into it. It's just a solid film through and through, and it's something that I would really suggest for people looking for something a little bit more obscure than typical stuff.
Rather than watching, the everyday, it's the Halloween. Of course, you're going to go to the normal movies, Chainsaw and stuff.
We already did that. We already did Texas Chainsaw, Cabin in the Woods. We did Jaws. This is something a little bit different. And, I don't know about you, but this is something I would definitely suggest over a lot of other things right now.
And it's actually a really good film, I think, to watch in the month of October. It will give you that perfect feeling of if you're marathoning a horror film or something like that, It's nice to throw in there and get a little change up, rather than keeping with, the blood and guts and gore and all that stuff. Because it doesn't have that.
No, not really.
I mean, it has some, violence and stuff, but nowhere near, Texas Chainsaw or anything like that.
Yeah, that's very true. It's a very different film compared to the other 5 things that we've done so far. So
definitely a must-watch.
Definitely a must-watch. Again, this has been Steve Arviso and Charles Musick for Two Guys, One Movie. And we'll be back tomorrow with another video or another movie selection for you, continuing our countdown towards Halloween.
Thanks for listening.